Should the Nets be concerned with Kyrie's commitment?
Absolutely. So we talked about this in the A block, and Kyrie's going to make me turn my thoughts on their head once again, because Kyrie actually might prioritize sports in its proper place. Like, I don't know if basketball is the most important thing to Kyrie Irving. It's only problematic when basketball is the most important thing to all of your peers. And when all of your peers are prioritizing basketball as the most important thing in their life, and then Kyrie is like, by action rather, I can take or leave it, then heck yeah, I'm concerned about his commitment, because I'm concerned about his wisdom in the moment. Kyrie gets ejected, remember, because he gets into a scuffle because a black player calls him the N-word. But then maybe it is coincidence, maybe not. All of a sudden, Kyrie Irving, he needs a moment, personal reasons, personal issues. As I look at it, he's missed 10 games already in this season, a shortened season, because of different personal or familial or whatever the case may be types of issues. Here is why I am concerned, and I'm going to personalize this for a moment. I don't really take days off on this show. Marcellus Wiley can co-sign. Emmanuel Acho doesn't take a lot of personal days on this show.
He's here.
Now, it's not like I don't take a lot of personal days because I'm the hardest worker in the world, although I try to work hard. I don't take a lot of personal days because sooner or later, I'm going to actually need a day. Like, something will happen in my life where I'm going to need a day off. So I don't choose to take a lot of days off, because something gonna happen where I'm gonna need a lot of days off. And if I choose to take a lot of days off, then I end up needing a lot of days off. I'm going to end up missing more days than I work. Kyrie Irving has missed more games than he has played with the Nets because he has chosen to take a lot of days off. But his body is like, hey, big dog, you need to take some days off. Y'all remember the shoulder injury? His body has said, hey, big dog, we need you to take time off. So the problem is, when you willingly take some days off, or whatever the case may be, eventually you're going to have to mandatorily take some days off. And Kyrie, as I look at it, I'm worried about the commitment, because you've missed 67 games and you've only played in 58 games out of 125 since you've been a part of this Nets organization. That is problematic.
No question they should be concerned. And Acho, you bring up one of the main reasons why, which is the fact that it's not just that he's missed games or that he has had to take personal days, but we don't always know why he's taking those personal days. We don't know what is causing him to miss time. If it's an injury, then it's direct, and that's unfortunate, but at least you know. Uncertainty is the one thing that sets teams, imbalances teams, if you will. What's the number one thing that every team in every sport, and I dare say in every business, they try to avoid? Distractions. When you have questions about somebody, that is a distraction. And let's be honest, this is not new behavior for Kyrie Irving. Did we ever find out exactly what happened in Cleveland? Why he left Cleveland? Why it wasn't working for him in Cleveland? Do we know ultimately why it didn't work out in Boston? If you go through the litany, Cleveland, Boston, the bubble, Steve Nash being named as coach, like, there's always something that's coming up. And I've been told not only are the Nets concerned, but they were concerned so much that they went out and they got James Harden. If you recall, when Kyrie took his first personal leave of absence, it was January 8th to the 17th. He missed a stretch of 7 games. In the middle of that stretch is when they made the James Harden trade. And they not only made the trade, they basically gave away the farm to do it. 3 first-round unprotected picks, Karis LeVert, and 4 more first-round picks that Houston has the option to swap with Brooklyn. That is a desperate measure, and it says to me that they were feeling in a desperate way about whether they were going to have Kyrie or how much they were going to have Kyrie going forward, and needed to have somebody else to pair with Kevin Durant.
Man, I disagree with y'all right here. No, the Brooklyn Nets shouldn't be concerned with Kyrie Irving's commitment. I'm going to have a different conversation than you two. I'm going to talk about commitment versus capacity. Let's talk about that. You want to know why? Because capacity is what I learned from my sports history, which is all players are not treated equally. nor are all players asked the same things. You guys sound like you're coming from a premise of equality. One, equality has never existed, never will exist, and shouldn't be an aspiration in life or in sports. Y'all are tripping. Bill Parcells had that famous quote when he talked about, I don't treat all my players equally. You know why? Because they all don't play the same. So what the hell I'm going to treat them the same for? Let's talk about great players versus sorry players, because it sounds like y'all think Kyrie is just normal. Y'all act like Kyrie is sorry. I'm going to say it like this. I don't want somebody who's always there in their commitment, but they ain't doing shh. You know why? Because I've been there before. I need somebody who moves the needle. I need somebody who's not the red dot in film study. Acho know what that is. That's the guy who can't get right. You can't even see his jersey number because it's red dot. Coach always showing them can't get right. When Kyrie is there, ain't much better than Kyrie being there. Let's talk about this. When a coach says, hey, when a sorry player on my team falls asleep, I'm cutting them. But when a great player falls asleep, somebody wake him up, please. Anybody? And that's what Kyrie Irving is. When he shows up for this team, I remind you, this is a winning team by a greater margin than when he's not there. 9-6 without Kyrie. 27-11 with Kyrie. Kyrie is averaging a career-high 27.6 points a game, shooting a career-high 5-1-4 from the field this season. Y'all over here talking about like Kyrie is just a normal dude that needs to come on a normal schedule and abide by the normal rules. Maybe that's how y'all play the game. Maybe that's how y'all were treated. But Kyrie understands when it matters most, oh, I'll be there, and not many will be better than me in those moments.
Here's the problem, though, Sal.
Ain't no problem.
You asking the Nets to do something you wouldn't dare fix your lips or live a lifestyle to do.
What's that?
You asking the Nets to tolerate, okay,
What's that?
I know it's great when you show up, so you can just show up whenever you want. And what kind of committed relationship inside sports or outside sports is that tolerable? Is that acceptable? Is that even worthwhile? Like, no, I don't need you to show up all the time. Just make sure when you're there, you're great. No.
I got an answer.
Because what I need to make sure of is that you are accountable, and more importantly, that you are available, or that you are available, and when you are available, you are accountable. But I do not want your accountability without your availability, and Lord knows I do not want your availability without your accountability. Can I get both, please? What you're telling me is Kyrie is accountable, but he might not be available. Or Kyrie might be available. Well, that's all you're telling me. You're not telling me he's available but not accountable. I need both. Any sort of elite athlete who maintains their elite level is always available and accountable at the same time.
Marcellus, look, I agree with you. There are different standards for different talents. There's no question about that. But if we're talking about a team that is attempting to win a championship, the heart of it is that your nucleus, you have to be able to count on them. Championship teams, your best players are your hardest workers. They are your leaders, ultimately. If you don't know where a guy is, how can he possibly lead you? We've seen more teams that were talented enough to get there that were undermined by it. But this is the biggest issue with Kyrie Irving and his inconsistency and the uncertainty about his availability, is the fact that these are outside external circumstances that seem to be influencing him. Whether an opponent calls him a certain word, whether there is social unrest in Minnesota or any place else. And I'm not suggesting that a player just shut up and dribble. I appreciate that he would have concerns about those things. But the fact of the matter is, we still all have to show up for our jobs, or at least we're going to be responsible for our jobs. And if my company is counting on me to show up for my job, then I ultimately may have to make a choice between, am I going to demonstrate my social justice concerns in every shape, way, and form and put aside my career, or am I going to try to blend and wed the two? Kyrie Irving seems to be struggling in being able to do that. And if the Nets have a concern over that, I certainly understand it.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have a concern over that. We don't know why Kyrie is always taking this time off for personal reasons. We have conjecture about it. But who's to say
that doesn't trouble you?
No, because I'm not nosy. I don't know if the Brooklyn Nets don't know. And how about this? They know, and they ain't going to tell us because they don't want to create more of what you said, a distraction. So let's us chill, 1, 2, 3, with our nosy asses
more
up
of.
here.
You said more of, right? You said more of.
More of?
You did.
You said more of. So you're conceding that Kyrie Irving is a distraction.
No. I'm
and
saying
they just don't want to make it more of a distraction
because
by telling us why he's missing time.
Yeah, we're about to have an Ivy League argument over here. Acho, get out. All right, let's talk. Now, here's the real. Let me finish this point because I think y'all forget I was a star player for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And I learned something as a star player from my climb from just being a, small school player that nobody believed in, second rounder from an Ivy League school. Yes, damn right. I'm going to do Greg Jennings up here. I'm going to talk about me. Here's the thing, though. There are rules on a team, right? And you think that's what it is until you elevate, until you ascend. Then you realize, there's some vet rules, too. And then there's the heavens star rules. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to call out my guy, my mentor, my man, Bruce Smith. I remember one day we had a full padded practice in training camp. And Acho, when it's full pads in training camp, we got to go. Everybody all in. Not Bruce Smith. Bruce came out there, we full pad, armor on, looking like RoboCop, ready to go to battle, sir. You must comply. And here comes Bruce Smith. Hat to the back, sweats on, legs crossed, with a fan, somebody feeding him grapes. He just out there looking, pointing, dare, do that. Mental reps, as they call it. Beyond vet rules, star rules. How dare we now come up here and act like this doesn't occur on every single team all the time in different ways? This is Kyrie's way. Look, if a guy load manages like Kawhi, we're going to sit there to attack that for its version. But it's still time missed. Now we're looking at Kyrie, and we're like, we're going to attack you because of personal reasons. But it still adds up to the same games missed. I give it to you like this, Acho, because you tried to say something about me, and I caught that little sneak diss.
What'd I do?
Marcellus, you would never live this way. You would never let this be your way of life. Acho, what'd I do last week? Took a vacation. What I'm going to do in a couple more weeks? Take a vacation. You want to know why? I read my contract. In my contract, it says, as long as you show up and you got 4 weeks off, as long as you show up any other time, show up and show out. That's what I do. But Kyrie is under the same understanding. Acho, I told you, I don't know your agent, but let me read your deal. We can take some time off together and maybe have a little more fun.